officially recognized by the International Olympic Committee from this first edition. And the concept of the All Africa Games has since been very active. Now, over various editions, despite some difficulties confronted by some of the host countries, the All Africa Games has become an Olympic gathering for the entire continent. A bit of the statistics here. So in 1987, and I'm looking at the last the last 2 decades. So in 1987 it was Kenya, and 41 nations took part. Egypt won that edition. In 1991, Egypt hosted it and won it. In 1995, Zimbabwe hosted it and South Africa won it. South Africa hosted it the next edition in 1999 and won it. So from South Africa, the All Africa Games went to Nigeria in the year 2003, and South Africa won it again. After Nigeria, 2003, Algeria hosted it in 2007, and Egypt was victor once again, making them 4 times champions. In 2011, it was in Mozambique, the host city being Maputo, and South Africa were victorious again, giving them a third event of dominance over the African continent. In 2015, it was in Congo, Brazzaville, and Egypt won again, giving them a 5th title. Morocco will host it next year, and in 2023, it will be the turn of Ghana to host. A lot of work lies therein. Well, the reason why Egypt have won it a record 5 times, with South Africa winning it 3 times, is another matter for discussion on another day. But today, we're taking a look at the positives we can draw and what all there is when, what there is to gain when we host such events. Lady, gentlemen, thank you very much once again for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Okay. This was a pretty clear-cut, situation, wasn't it? Considering what happened ahead of the in the course of getting this bid, finally announced. So obviously it didn't come as a big surprise, Ben.
No, I wasn't surprised. I had seen the bid document. I had worked closely with Mr. Rex Dankwa and the minister, so I knew what we had. And when the inspection team came down, we were with them. We went around. They saw the facilities that we had and those that we intend to put in place. And I could tell from their body language that it was going to be a done deal for Ghana. So I wasn't very surprised.
I see. Charles, when we won the bid, when you got the confirmation, 2 days ago that Ghana had won the bid, what was the first thing that struck you?
Well, I was happy that at least for once we're going to give the opportunity to all the sporting federations, or a number of them, to experience international competitions back home here. Remember that the dream to host the All Africa Games has been nurtured more than 10 years. I remember Rex Dankwa, Dr. Usman San, through previous ministers had tried. And so it came as good news to me. Opportunity to develop infrastructure, opportunity to get athletes to play at the international level back home, opportunity to, enhance facility, not just sporting infrastructure. But when you are putting up or hosting such games, you need to make sure that you have a quality hospital, the roads are good, transport is okay. So I'm happy that we'll take advantage of this to improve infrastructure, to improve or unearth talent and improve the performance of the young athletes we have.
All right. Ben, I'll be coming back to you to tell me what it is that, that makes up this full bid and what convinces everybody that Ghana is the place where everybody needs to converge in 2023. But Baba, you were there in Argentina. Tell me what you saw. The Youth Olympics. Tell me what you saw.
Well, Nat, I saw quite a lot, and the moment I got into the games village in the southern part of Buenos Aires, I was stunned, and I asked myself, okay, so if Ghana is going to host the rest of Africa in 2023, how are we going to do this with what I am seeing? Not It was such that over 8,000 people were accommodated in one village, and 8,000 people. This consisted of 7,000 athletes. So what they did was to raise 1,000 structures, and these are not makeshift structures. These are like solid structures, flats, high-rise buildings, and each one houses about 700 to 800 athletes and officials. And if they are doing this, okay, so there are over 50 countries in Africa. In Africa, it means that we're going to have far less than that number coming for 2023. Of course, this was over 200 countries that they hosted in Buenos Aires. So how are we going to do this? I then was tempted to go and speak to the chief operating officer of Buenos Aires, the games, that's Gustavo Nascimento, and he said, look, Ghana can do this. Ghana can really do this, but the only thing you need is the commodity that cannot be bought, time. And you need to start from now if you really want to do this. So you're talking about accommodation, you're talking about feeding, you're talking about transport, which was really effective because you have to shuttle athletes, officials, technical men, journalists, and other people who are connected to the game in one way or the other. And the shuttle service was excellent. They had over 200 buses, they had over 300 SUVs and saloon cars, because everybody had to be satisfied in one way or the other. So you're looking at all of those ones: feeding, accommodation, transport, and of course all the other bits that form the 37 core subunits of the entire games. So Nat, this is in brief what I actually saw. But I mean, of course, we know what we can do and we know what we have. And once we have been giving the nod to host 2023, of course, everybody knows the job at hand. So, I mean, it will not be an easy thing, but we hope to pull through.
All right. Benunu Mensah is here with me in the studio. He's the president of the Ghana Olympic Committee. Baba Tando covered the last Youth Olympics. I mean, I'm sure that a lot of you are also joining via live stream on our Facebook wall. And Charles Osesibe is in charge of Ghana Arm Wrestling, a very youthful, relatively youthful, sporting federation, but making massive waves within this very short period of time. Let's talk about what we presented to get the nod. So, for now, what are the considerations that were made based on what we presented? What did we present first of all?
Well, I think what we did is no different from what other countries have done in the past or what other countries did. But I can say that what really made a difference for Ghana is the level of commitment from government and from the ministry. For me, when we had a little challenge from the Egyptians, who wanted to paint the picture that Ghana could withdraw just like Equatorial Guinea did some time back. It was a fight. I mean, I know Uncle Rex really had a tough time speaking to the Egyptian. What really made them back down was the fact that they were convinced that our government, was committed to hosting this tournament 100%, and there was no going to be anything that would draw us back. So I think what made the difference, apart from what they came to see down here, even though our match venues, our competition venues, our games village, and all the other stuff are not ready, or most of them are not in place, you could tell that they were convinced that with the level of government commitments and that they will stop at nothing to make sure that we get all these things in place. There was no doubt they were going to give it to Ghana. I think that this bid process has started, as Charles has said, some years back, and let me say I must congratulate Mr. Rex Dankwa, the current minister, Honorable Isiama, and Dr. Uswansa, for all that they put in. Because when it really got to the crunch, you realize that the minister was up to the task. He spoke about the president's commitment, and then what Ghana intends to do for the games. And I think that is what made a difference. Otherwise, it was just like any other bid documents that you send in the hope that you could get a tournament to host.
All right. Now, there's a lot of work to do. So in there is the construction of an Olympic stadium.
I wouldn't say that we're going to construct a new Olympic stadium. It's not we needed to do immediately. We already have quite a couple of stadiums. We have the Accra Sports Stadium, we have the Kumasi Sports Stadiums, and of course we have the Cape Coast Stadium, which is quite new. Our intention is to, as quickly as possible, lift up these facilities to the international standards. Baba spoke about the Games Village. The intention is that we're going to use the University of Ghana hostels. That's where where you have the Kwapon, you have Nelson, Liman halls. One way or the other, it will be fenced off and used as a games village. Our swimming facility, we're hoping that we could put up a new swimming pool very close to University of Cape Coast, and in fact make full use of the Cape Coast Stadium since it's very new, and then also the Elmina Stadium could be one of the training venues. The University of Ghana Stadium could also be one of the venues for training. So there's not much pressure on us to put up a new Olympic-style stadium. What we want to do now is to upgrade a lot of the facilities that we have so they can meet the international
So this is to
standards.
say that Kumasi, Accra, and Cape Coast,
Cape Coast
will see facelifts again.
Unimaginable facelift. I mean, the Accra Sports Stadium will be transformed to a level that anybody who had been out of Ghana in the last 6-5 years would think when you come back in 2022 or 2023, you will probably think that you are somewhere maybe one of those rich countries.
Well,
in
let's
South
talk about the other.
Sorry,
Sure.
quickly. So, like he said, it's going to be the first time that the African Olympics
Multi-city.
will have more than one. Will be hosted in more than one city. In the past it's held in only one city.
Sure.
But this time it's Kumasi, Accra, and Cape Coast,
multi-city.
like President rightly said. And then also, what Buenos Aires did was to construct a lot of makeshift facilities for a lot of the games. They did a lot of makeshift facilities, and it
see.
saved them time and it saved them money.
You did a lot of reportage from the volleyball arena, and I guess that's one of
That was one of the makeshift facilities that they put up. So I mean, apart from the main Olympic, the Olympic park, which was very close to the Games Village, which was quite. Even that one was a permanent structure that had a lot of makeshift facilities to accommodate a lot of games over there. So, I mean, I think that we could look at some of these things so that we can save time and we can save cost as well.
Okay.
Well, you see, when you host these tournaments, what you also want to avoid is to create white elephants after the tournament. So your legacy projects should be community-based or should be focused on real need of the people. And that is the reason why I would not rush and put up facilities that after the games will become white elephants. Everything that we're doing now should be something that at the end of the day it will be a good legacy project for the community. When you're not too careful and you rush into, that's what Baba mentioned, the temporary structures that have been put up in Buenos Aires. I think they were conscious of the fact that, look, once we do these things, we don't want to have facilities that at the end of the day will be white elephants. But you see, the good thing for Ghana is that we already don't even have these facilities. You're talking about Cape Coast, you're talking about Kumasi, and you're talking about Accra. These are huge capital cities that don't have the adequate sporting infrastructures. So no matter the amount of facilities that we put up now, it is even way below what we need. So we're not going to lose. Whether you go here, you go there, it will still be facilities that will be beneficial to the country, will be beneficial to the communities after the games.
Okay.
I think that the strategy works better for us, especially knowing our finances as a nation. We won't be able to put up new facilities. It is why Ghana decided to do another multi-city thing. Remember, we're the first to do co-hosting. We did for football.
For the AFCON.
Yes, for the AFCON. We did for football. Now, we will be the first to do multi-city as far as international games is concerned. Now, the reason, like President said, one other thing they also looked at, that for every region would have its own speciality in sports. So the reason is that if we look at Cape Coast and we feel that they love hockey or track and field, Cape Coast will host hockey and then track and field. If we look at Kumasi and we feel that they love football and some other thing, football will go to Kumasi. If we look at Accra and we think it's football and boxing, then we can keep boxing, football, and some other disciplines here. So naturally, if we plan well, it will cost Ghana less as it has against the other, previous hosts. It is going to cost Ghana less. Maybe, I've seen 2 or 3 All-Africa games. I saw the Nigeria one. I was seriously involved. And the kind of facility the Nigerians put up, they invested so much. I do not think we have that money. But our plan will work for us, and I think we'll be able to make Africa proud.
Okay, we'll be able to make Africa proud indeed. The words of Charles Osei Sibe here in the studio, together with Ben Numensa, the president of the Ghana Olympic Committee, and Baba Tanda of Joy Sports, who was there to cover the last edition of the Youth Olympics. Okay, so Accra Stadium. So we wanted to host a football tournament, and we changed the plan and made it a football stadium. Now we're reverting to, so then someone sits back and says, well, maybe we should have, thought a little further into the future and projected more and thought, look, let's maintain it and raise the stands and do something else.
Not, we may clean up the stadium to do football, but I don't think we would go back to fix tartan tracks to get track and field at the Accra Stadium. That will not be considered. But the most important thing for me as a Ghanaian is not about organization. Every country that tried hosting a major tournament, including Russia, those who are rich, they have never been ready for major championships. Ours becomes so easy because the plan is not to put up new or huge infrastructure. Accommodation, we want to consider the university campuses. When it comes to transport, maybe there's something we need to consider based on what Baba said. When we did arm wrestling, we used Ayalolo. Can we do same? Because we wanted to portray that Ghanaian, brand. It was why we used Ayalolo. My point is that the major problem is not about the organization of the event. The major problem, if you look at the history, Egypt won the previous year, hosted and won. South Africa same. Will Ghana be able to prepare a team, host and win? We may not win, but will Ghana be able to raise a formidable team that will be able to, will we be seen as we host the championship?
Yeah, I was coming to that because
that is a key challenge.
That since
not hosting.
Since 1987, the championship or winning the All Africa Games has been shared between South Africa and Egypt.
Sure.
That is a big indictment on the rest of the continent.
Because they plan.
Well, Nats, for me, the biggest benefits that we're probably going to get from hosting these games, it wouldn't be the infrastructure that we're putting up. But I think that for the first time in about 9 years that I've been closely associated as a federation head, we will now turn attention and invest a little bit of money into the so-called lease finance sports, into the so-called young boys and girls who, even without any financing, without any support, have always gone out there and raised high the flag of Ghana. For me, that is the biggest benefit we are going to get. And I get that kind of commitment from the minister that, okay, now we have to start looking, we're having infrastructures. Okay, that's fine. But in 2023, like Charles said, our athletes going to be ready. And I think that for me, that is the biggest benefit I see coming to the so-called lease finance sports. I just hope that we're not saying it like we've always done. Okay, we're going to be minister for all sports, we're going to do all sports, and then eventually we focus on just one sporting discipline. We can put up all the infrastructures. It would still be a benefit, legacy benefit for the country. But if we really want to host and, as we say, win or make an impressive show by way of medals that we win, then I think that not only investing in infrastructure, we also need to start investing in our young athletes now.
So, Baba, tell me about the deficiencies that you saw in our athletes compared to what you saw out there when you went to.
We can't finish this today. To be honest with you,
try your best and summarize.
We will not finish.
Try your
today.
best and summarize.
Okay, so I entered the Olympic Village, and even the way some athletes from some other countries are dressed is intimidating already. Just from their outlook, it is intimidating already. Okay, and number two, you look at how you go to watch some training sessions of some countries, and you ask yourself, hey, that I kept asking myself this question over and over again, and then I had to get close to athletes from USA, from Russia, from Hungary, And I asked them, okay, so you guys, you seem to be really ready for this games or for these games. What's the secret? They said, okay, USA were the first people I spoke to. They said, look, we've been in Brazil for 2 months and 3 weeks.
Brazil.
We've been USA were in Brazil for 2 months and 3 weeks preparing.
I see.
Uruguay, Hungary were also there for a month and a half.
But talk about African countries, because that's...
And okay, so I happened to speak to Nigeria, I happened to speak to Egypt, and then one lady from Tunisia. And they all said, okay, so the Tunisian team, not all of them though, but they were training in Brazil in phases. All of them happened to go to Brazil. And I was like, okay, it's not like Ghana doesn't know Brazil. So what really was the problem with us? Like I had said in my reportage from the beginning, the team Ghana moved from Ghana to Buenos Aires directly for a week to acclimatize. And I asked myself, how does this work magic for you? You are going for a games. What do you have to do? You need to be prepared. Look, the team was not prepared. You see, just by the fact that Abiyoku Jackson, Solomon Diafo, and Sandra Mensma, also the weightlifter, happened to improve on their personal best, just show that it was personal commitment. They were self-motivated, and probably due to one or two conversations that the GOC president, Mr. Benunu Mensah, acting director general of the National Force Authority, Mr. Majid Bawa, and some other people had with them. But for those conversations, I don't know how these people were going to go about their duties as athletes in the games. Look, they were simply not prepared. That's just the bottom line. They were not prepared. If other African countries are looking for places that have climates close to Argentina to go and prepare or to go and acclimatize before they get into Buenos Aires, their training regimen was different. And one thing that they told me that even got me more depressed: we don't eat what every other person eats. We are not given the same type of medical attention that every other person in our country gets. We eat differently, and then we are given different medical conditions. And we go through massage, we go through this, we go through that, we go through ABC every single day. And then I was tempted to go and ask my Ghanaian athletes, okay, so Sandra, how about you? Oh, you see, I not to put anybody in a bad light, but so she tells me, look, from training, you either have Banku or Kenke waiting for you. Solomon, what's up with you? Okay, so I go to training in the morning at this time. When I finish, either I go and sleep or I go and find some beans or go and find some wache or something to eat. And then these people especially the girl from Tunisia, Gofan Fekir, she said, okay, so we have a special diet. I eat a lot more of greens, and I eat little or no fat at all. I eat very little this. I eat these in portions. I am giving these kind of supplements. I get this, I get that. And I sit down, and even piecing the interviews together to do a story out of was depressing for me. Because then how am I going to put the story out there? And once it comes out, oh, here are the Ghanaian journalists again, putting Ghana in the bad light. And that's just what's going to happen. But that's the truth. These athletes nobody invested in these athletes except for their federation heads, maybe, or for they themselves. Nobody has invested in them.
Okay. Rash, we've spoken about this subject severally. I'm sure that Osesibe will bear me out. He's been here on this platform. Mr. Nunu Mensah has also been here. Now we are at this crossroad. We've got a couple of years to go. Okay? We have 2009. I mean, we have the Morocco example to take over. I do not know how much impact we can make in Morocco. We've got just next year.
We don't have a team.
Okay, so we're looking at 2023. I mean, there's some amount of time. How then do we get there? Because clearly, the specific building blocks or the specific organizational blocks that we need to put our respective teams together and put our respective athletes together are also not there. How do we get it done?
President will give us an answer, but I just want to give a scenario.
Okay.
Next year is Morocco.
Yeah.
Next year is 2019.
2019, yeah.
My joy is that if we're able to plan well, at least over a period of time, we are going to have consistent performance. If we're able to raise a team for Morocco, the plan is that let's keep the team well and add on.
We already even have these boys and girls from Buenos Aires.
I'll come there. I'll come to that. Maybe after President had made his, has made a submission. But I'm saying that between 2019 and 2023, we'll be doing, let's say, 4 or 5 years. Beyond that, 2024 will be the next Olympics. Now, if we're able to raise middle-level athletes for the All-Africa Games or the African Games now in 2023, any athlete who is able to win a medal at that level in 2023 will be in his peak for another 4 or 5 years.
Tokyo 2024. Yeah.
And I'm saying that we must plan so that beyond 2023, our team will be able to have a good show in the 2024 Olympics.
And Charles,
and there may be another 4 or 5 years later.
You know, we would have a very good dress rehearsal for 2023 All Africa Games. There's Dakar 2022.
Sure.
Senegal 2022.
Sure.
So that should be our dress rehearsals. And for 2023, we don't have any excuse.
Not. I am worried that as we sit here, we do not have any plan for 2019 All Africa Games. And I'm making this statement. It saddens my heart that as sports managers, as leaders of sports in this country, as a sporting nation, we sit here and still talk about Australia. We talk about the visa racketeering that engulfed or supposedly engulfed Ghana. I am speaking as Charles Osei-Sibi, and it saddens my heart. No sporting leader has been able to call for a round table discussion to review what transpired in Australia, whether we have potentials to prepare them for Morocco. No. Nobody is talking about Morocco 2019. Nobody is talking about Tokyo 2020. We do not have a plan. Now these athletes will continue to conjure magic, go through that hard system of training, and then a week or two to go, the ministry will come and announce bonus packages, winning bonuses. If you win, we'll give you $5,000. When you have not invested $5,000 in an athlete, it saddens my heart. We have a year to go. We are talking about the saga in Australia. Yes, I admit when things go wrong, we must find solutions. But I'm saying that if we are smart, by now, between the GOC, the Ministry of Youth and Sports, and the National Sports Authority, together with the federation heads, we will sit and say that, guys, yes, in as much as something went wrong in Australia, we must plan for Morocco 2019. What can we do?
Quickly educate me. Your sport is now admitted into the All Africa Games? Yeah?
No.
Not yet?
The plan is that Ghana will introduce it as a demonstration sport.
Okay.
For every host country, you are allowed to introduce certain demonstration sports.
Very well. Very
so
well.
we are discussing with the ministry and the managers of the African Games to see whether arm wrestling can be added as a demonstration sport.
Okay. And then subsequent to that,
but you see, I am not talking as a leader of the Arm Wrestling Federation. I'm speaking as a journalist and somebody who served on various federations. Yeah. Yes, I feel that by now we should be planning 2019. We have games, unless we generally decide that 2019 Ghana will not participate in the African Games.
So it's official.
Unless we say that 2020 we will not go to Tokyo.
So it's official. We can conclude that we are not in the system of we are not among the system of performers who are expected to turn up in Morocco. We are not there. That's it.
Nat, I think earlier on I said that the biggest benefit for me for 2023 is that for the first time in several years, 15 years or so, we will now start focusing on athletes who take part in the so-called least finance sports. And for me, that is where I want to draw my argument from. Yes, in the past, we haven't helped these athletes. When Baba was speaking, I was hoping that she would say, when she had chat with most of the athletes from the African countries, in the year from January to when they came to Buenos Aires, they had gone to not just 4 or 5 competitions, but some of them were 6 international competitions. So they have had the exposure, they've had the experience. So coming on a bigger platform makes no difference to them. What can we see of our athletes? The only international competition they had to go to was in Algeria, and that is to get them qualified. And even Algeria, if the GOC hadn't stand firm, it wouldn't have gone at all. So we are not doing enough. We are not investing anything at all in our athletes. Yes, GOC has a few of them on scholarships, but that is not enough. The individual federations need to go to as much international competitions as possible. Our athletes need to get as many exposures in international competitions as possible. But this has not been forthcoming. As a nation, we have failed our people. I mean, all of us have to take blame one way or the other. The media, as the sports administrators, the corporate world, who only focus on maybe Miss Ghana's and all the beauty pageant, and would rather want to spend money on just one sport. Everybody has to take a share. So it is an awakening call. Are we going to sit back and let things go the way it's been going? Or now we say, look, we've been doing things wrong. This is the time to right all the wrongs, and I believe that this is what the body language I get from the minister. I have a meeting scheduled with the deputy minister tomorrow. They are committed to starting early, and I hope that some of these issues, especially what was raised by Charles, this is a complaint that we've been complaining in the last 9-15 years. And I hope that for the first time we'll start righting the wrongs.
There was a meeting between the managers of the African Games.
Hold that thought there, Charles. Let me just quickly read this text message from Leslie Ado in Choco. He says, "Good afternoon, Nathaniel. The right that has been given to Ghana to host the 2023 All-Africa Games is welcoming news. But preparation needs to start now. Therefore, it's not too late. I will hold the GOC president by his words that various stadia will be revamped and that people will not recognize the facilities when they visit the various stadia." Okay. Thank you very much, Leslie, for that message. Thank you very much. All right. Thank you very much. Okay. All right. Yeah, you are making a point, Charles.
Yes. The most important thing, I'm sure there are Ghanaians listening. There are those who would ask, but what about the All-Africa Games? The African Games, if you ask me, is bigger than the Cup of Nations we hosted. Far, far bigger than the Cup of Nations we hosted.
Yeah.
This is also going to bring not less than 5,000 visitors into Ghana. Not less than 5,000 visitors. And it is where I expect the Ministry of Tourism and other agencies to partner the Ministry of Youth and Sports to make sure that as Ghana, we have won, not just winning the championship itself. I was saying that there was a meeting between the parties involved together with the Deputy Minister of Youth and Sports, and they were asking for programs from the various federations. They want a situation where the federations will submit their programs for development, training, and competition so that Ghana's participation in the All-African Games will be awesome. We are only hoping that discussion will materialize and every federation's program will be supported financially. We do not want a situation where people will continue to use their own money from their own pockets to support federations, and then 2 weeks to the hosting of the games, you'll be called residential campaign, international, whatever.
2 weeks? Just a week to the games?
Well, not. It's worrying. You see, it is probably because people till today do not understand what sports can do for us as Ghanaians.
Charles, how about this? Maybe it is because as a country we do not have an official sports policy. How about that?
I will get to that. But you see, the policy for me is the orientation I always talk about. Generally, we must have an orientation where, from the president to the least, will understand that today's sports is business. Sports creates employment.
Charles, are you sure this is not already known?
Again, you are talking about a policy. We do not have a development policy. National sports development policy. We do not have. What I was even thinking that even at the ministry, there should be a blueprint as far as sports development and management is concerned. There should be a blueprint that this is where we want to go. This is how we want to get it done. Unfortunately, we do not have it. And I get worried, Nat. It is important we have an orientation that, look, sports can do, and I keep saying that, let's look at C-Row. He's a footballer. But let's look at Tiger Woods. What is his net worth? Let's look at this Jamaican, Usain Bolt, his net worth. Michael Phelps, his net worth. These are non-football athletes. And they bring so much into the economies. I'm saying that we can change the story, Nat. Our parents can help us change the story. Ministry of Education or our teachers can help us change the story. Sports creates employment. You go to the United States, people complete high school and college and they don't put pressure on the economy because he's playing basketball, because he's doing track and field, because he's doing tennis. And that is what we must begin to do. We must let people know that if you do tennis and you do it well, you can be richer over $2 million. Maybe people don't know the figures, so they don't appreciate what sports can do for us.
Now let me just put in a quick one from what Charles said on the blueprints. With my association with the ministry over a period of time, way back from ETML, I've worked with every sports minister. In terms of blueprints, there have been several of them. I know I was in a committee at that time where Obiama was deputy minister. We have put together, some stakeholders and brought out a blueprint which we think should be followed. I had worked also with Honorable Ayariga when he was a minister, and we have put something together. I think our problem has been that, anytime there's a change in government, we want to go back and create our own stuff. So that hasn't helped our sports development. But in terms of blueprints, I can count about 3 that I know.
Every sports minister brings blueprints.
But see, that is where our administrators at the ministry should be helping our political leaders. The sports ministry should be an area where, because sports is the only thing that unites us as a nation, so we need to have committed and patriotic administrators at the sports ministry who don't look at party A or party B, and we want to carry through our sports program irrespective of who comes. Yes, every government will want to take credit for certain ABC that they have put in their manifesto, but I think the bottom line is that once we have a blueprint which captures total development of Ghana sports, whether you're party A or party B, they would want to do it because it's a development stage, and they will take credit for developing that area. So in terms of blueprint, yes, there has been quite a couple of them, but it's just that we haven't been committed in implementing them.
And Nat, just to add to that, I mean, I don't know if the blueprint is the same as the national sports policy that I'm also referring to.
Of course,
maybe we need to get a policy rather than a blueprint.
Maybe, because when there's a policy in place, it doesn't matter whether you belong to the NPP, you belong to the MDC. Once this is what we have been chartered to follow, that is just what we are going to follow. And there should be consistency. Once this has been started, and we know that that's what is expected of us from the policy, once this has been started, it must be completed. It doesn't mean that NPP will start the Accra Sports Stadium, and because it's an NPP project and NDC comes into power, they stop that and say, okay, we want to go and build one on the motorway, or we want to start something else somewhere. There should be a policy that will guide us, whether NPP, NDC, whatever party that comes in.
5 minutes past 1 p.m. here on the Joy Sports Link on Joy 99.7 FM, and there are a few messages that are coming in here. Remember, it's 0244340437, 0244340437. Now, in a country where athletes literally have to beg for attention, then we have a problem. Our performance in Argentina was a manifestation of our preparation. I won't be surprised if the same attitude is given to the All-Africa game. What has been the importance of the technical advisor to the minister? This is from Ken in Louisiana, USA. Okay.
Canada Day, I guess.
Yeah,
our own Ken. Our own Ken. Find that.
Sure. Okay. So he's basically saying, you just basically re-echoing what has been said here.
We've never prepared for any games. I remember the last time I think we had any quality preparation was in 1996, where we went for the Atlanta Olympic Games. And I was watching a video of the 4x100 meters team that qualified to run in the finals, but they were disqualified because The coach and other managers of the team were not there, so the guys couldn't run. They went into the track to run in the finals and they were disqualified. That was the only time I thought we had some quality preparation, because 6 months into the games, we're concerned about what we do to our footballers and our track and field guys. We sent all the track and field athletes to Germany and the USA 6 months ahead of the games to go and prepare. That was the only time I saw Ghana preparing for any major championship. And it was when we went to the finals of the 4x100 meters relay. Maybe after that was the 2003 Abuja Games. But apart from that, we have never prepared. South Africa, as we speak, South Africa planned for Tokyo 6 years ago. The South African team we saw at the last Commonwealth Games is the team they prepared, or they started preparing 6 years ago for Tokyo. If you saw the performance of South Africa in Gold Coast, it will tell you what they mean to do in Tokyo 2022. That is a long-term plan. We wait 6 months, 2 months, Baba says a week to go, then we assemble athletes, residential campaign. I think that story must change, especially now that we are going to host the All Africa Games. Now, the Africa Games will do a lot for Ghana and then our athletes. I'm saying that if we're able to raise a formidable team and they compete in the Africa Games, give them another year or two, they will become high-level performers. Anybody any Ghanaian who is able to do well in the All Africa Games will continue to perform for another 5-6 years, and it will change their story. And that is what we must focus on.
There's a message here from Bright Dugbaza in Virginia, USA. He says, this All African Games hosting project is another vanity project. Authorities must not waste money. Who are the athletes? Give them 10 years and they can't produce even 2 quality athletes. Okay, so thank you very much, Bright. Yeah.
I don't think I agree with Bright. Okay. Look, within 2 years, I have produced weightlifters who are African and Commonwealth champions or gold medalists. The records are there to show. We currently have 2 athletes based in the US. And these are athletes who had just been doing weightlifting in just 3 years. And they are Commonwealth medalists. You know what it takes to be a Commonwealth medalist? Please, Bright, I think that, yes, I know you're a bit passionate about us not doing well in championship. But look, if we put a little bit of investment in our athletes, ensure that they are taking part in as many competitions as possible, give them training programs, I don't think that within a period of 2 years, we can produce athletes who are African champions, because we have done it at weightlifting. Other federations have done it. It's just that we simply do not invest in these athletes and expect them to perform wonders when they go for championships. So, Bright, please, I don't agree with you, but I think Ghana can do it if we put our minds to it.
All right, there's another message here, and it's from Elam. Elam says, yes, sports creates employment, but how can we create that employment and the future for our kids when the fundamentals are weak? I can tell you for a fact that basic schools don't even have their inter-schools anymore. Athletes are selected randomly to represent their various districts and municipals. Until we have sports development plans towards 2023, I'm afraid we are just coming to host the countries here to play sports. One from Kofiche in Tantra Hill, Yellow House. He says, Nat, I'm very happy we're going to host the All Africa Games. Let's start preparing now. Great show as always. Thank you very much, Kofiche. 0244340437. 0244340437. In about 19 minutes, I'll be activating the phone line so that you can join us. We're taking Africa Games bid that has been won by Ghana for 2023. How do we get ourselves there? How do we make massive impact, not only with the hosting and the organization, but impact on the medals table? Because that has eluded us for some time now.
So if we will also get into our heads that the principal actors of the 2023 games, or indeed the principal actors of every games, is the athletes. It is not your Minister of Sports. It is not your sports authority boss. It is nobody. It's not even your president of the country. The principal actors always have to be the athletes. You don't invest in them. Look, forget everything that's going to happen in 2023. If Ghana fails to win even one single gold medal, it defeats the whole purpose of hosting the All Africa Games. Do you understand? Argentina tried so hard. I mean, in the beginning, it was very difficult for them. But for beach volleyball and some other, other sporting disciplines, basketball and all of that, they placed 7th on the medal table. And they made a total of 26 medals. They got 11 gold, 6 silver, and 9 bronze. Imagine if this were Ghana hosting the games this year, could we have boasted of 26 medals?
It's a capital no.
But Nat, you see, apart from every other reason for which a country would want to host games, the key reason is to host and win. The key reason, the strategy is that if we are traveling into Morocco, we won't be able to go with 100 or 200 athletes. But if we are hosting, we can enter about 500 athletes. So the key reason, apart from everything we've discussed, is to be able to win and be counted. So like Baba said, if we don't prepare Team Ghana well, and the focus is shifted, and we host and we're unable to win gold medals, then there was no reason for hosting. I'm sure people would go like, we need to put up infrastructure, would have benefited from...
How does the infrastructure help the athletes get medals? Do we not already have some that at least could help?
Baba, but as we speak, our focus is putting up infrastructure. If you say they go like, if we don't put up infrastructure, how are they going to train? There was no infrastructure, but they kept training. We are saying that it can be parallel. You're putting up infrastructure, concentrate on the talent.
Charles, you know what? I'm sorry to digress a little bit, but it will form part of the discussion anyway. So we are here talking about principal actors of 2023 who will be the main athletes, yeah? We're here hosting the Women's AFCON 2018, aren't we? And the players are sitting in Pram, not even a single dime ever since they went there for camping allowance, for per diem, nothing. They are there. They wake up in the morning, they go to training, they come back, they eat, they sleep, they go to training, and that's it. And that's it. If you treat your athletes this way, or if you treat your players this way, what kind of motivation do you expect them to carry to raise high the flag of Ghana?
Events around the championships.
And not on the principal actors.
On events around the championships without spending on the principal actors, not.
Well, that's Charles said the idea is to host and win. I'll be very truthful to you that it will be very difficult for Ghana to host 2020 and win. I am looking at the position of we would host and impress very well.
Maybe
like until 2008.
What we should have done over the last 20 years, 15 years, let's say even over the last 10 years, we haven't done it. Unless countries like Egypt, Algeria, Nigeria are not coming for these games, then fine, you can think about hosting and winning. But if you're going to have countries who in the last 15 years have been consistent and developing their athletes and investing in their athletes, please, I would not be that ambitious and say Ghana is going to host and win. But trust me, if we put our act together and start working now, Ghana would host. We may not win, but we'll make a very good impression. And that will be the beginning of the renaissance of Ghana sports.
Well, now, the idea was that for those who have hosted and won, they had a plan. For us, where we are now, like President is saying, we can't use 5 years to prepare a winning team. 5 years, no. Yes, we may impress, but I am looking at the games I'm looking beyond the games. Because if we're able to raise quality athletes for the games, beyond the games, they become high-level performers. They become world beaters over a period. And that will be my joy.
I see. Yeah. 0302216541. That will be the phone line. That will be the number to call in a few minutes. 0302216541. But for now, your text messages are very welcome. It's and your WhatsApp messages, are very welcome. 0244340437.
You know, that's a story.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 or 3. In 1999, when South Africa hosted the All Africa Games, we somehow had a solid team. Remember that we had done the 96 Olympics. So the guys who went to the 96 Olympics, some of them were still around for the All Africa Games in South Africa. We had 2 of our guys qualifying for the semi-finals 100 meters, and then eventually Leo Miles Mills, who had run the fastest time then, was running in the finals. He nearly did not run because of bonus. He nearly did not run. It took one Dawson Amo, I don't know where he is today, who went to him. I think then Professor Mills was the vice president, I think. Then Dawson Amo was like, hey, you, now vice president, moi, now, on mine, at this time, you don't want to run. They said everything. This guy said, I will not, unless I am giving my bonus. So eventually,
happens all the time.
Yeah, eventually, top officials came around and said that, hey, guy, this is the money. Run and come and take the money. Then he asked the official that, what do you want done? So eventually, Leo Miles Mills said, go and bring the Ghana flag to the finishing line. When they had given him the money, he said, go and bring the Ghana flag to the finishing line. That's how come Leo Miles Mills won the 100 meters in that All Africa Games. In 2003, Abuja, we had Insia, we had Leo Mills, we had Aziz Zachary, we had Eric Nkansa, all doing the 100 meters. Margaret Simpson and the rest had all competed already and had won medals. There was one girl, Akosia Sewa or something, who was doing 800 meters. Now, before the finals, Aziz Zachary and the rest also said, we won't run because of money. And you go to other countries, it doesn't happen.
At all.
It doesn't happen.
Their motivation has never been money.
So there was money, somebody was sitting on the money, no discussion had been done with them. Eventually, when payment was agreed, the guy said, Ghana flag finishing line. In Abuja, I was at the finishing line. And the guys won 4x100 meters finals. I lost my voice that day. And Nigeria had Omeche Delu. In fact, then Nigeria had 2 athletes in the top 10 in the world. But we were able to beat them. I'm saying that if we prepare well, we may not do well in hosting the All Africa Games. But
not hosting, probably winning.
Yeah, we may not do well in winning.
Yeah.
But it will propel us into the next Olympics and beyond. And it's been long since we saw Ghanaian athletes, on the international platform performing. Athletes in quote, not just track and field guys, but boxers winning gold medals in major championships, track and field guys winning major championships, volleyball guys, hockey. It's not happened. Please, let's begin to invest in Team Ghana today. Not anytime I preach, I say that a lot of people are dependent on Asamoah Gyan because of sports. A lot of people are dependent on Joshua Clottey, the boxer, because of sports.
Azuma Nelson.
A lot of people are dependent on Azuma Nelson, Ikote, and the rest. A lot of people were dependent on Eric Nkansa when he was within his peak. A lot of people were dependent on Gunter Dake when he was in his peak. Please, sports does a lot. Asamoah Gyan, apart from the boxing he promotes, apart from the footballers he supports, he does a lot of businesses with sports money. Odate Lamte, he does farming, he does education, he does football. I'm saying that sports will seriously influence this economy. And as a nation, we must have an orientation about sports.
But Nat, you know what? Charles mentioned something. You see, this issue about money and bonuses and all of that, I'm not against it anyway. I expect to be paid when I'm done. At the end of the month for working. Okay, but I think we have gotten it somewhat wrong. How did it happen that until players or athletes see money, they will not go for a certain competition, or they will not kick a ball, or they will not step onto the track. How did we get there as a nation?
Is it possibly because administrators have created a system of distrust?
Even if you look at
and it's because they also make their own cuts from these monies.
That's why I'll blame the officials, because remember, the footballers at some point, the Black Stars players, were complaining. They were like, that is one from the official side. But the other point too is that if I'm a weightlifter or an arm wrestler, I play arm wrestling, and I struggle to go through training, then I am selected to compete for Ghana, and my little bonus you will not give me. I win, and then you come and take the fans away. It will not happen. Sometimes we don't agree with the athletes when they want to say money first. It is not about money first. It is because things have changed. You have not invested in me. You have not done anything for me. And I get to that level, you want to come and claim fans? Give me my money. Because I know a lot of track and field guys. It got to a point, even tickets that they bought flying to come and compete for Ghana was a problem. Some never got paid. Some it took years. So if I'm an athlete and I come and I demand for my ticket before I compete and you say no, then I won't compete. It will be but you see, that is not the orientation the athlete must have. But we as leaders must also make sure that we have prepared them well. We have invested in them so they don't hold us to ransom.
There's a message here. Good afternoon to you and your panelists. For me, Ghana should improve our sports. We, the Ghanaians, should pick good leaders, and they should draw a 10-year development plan each so we can do well in the next 10 years. This is Hussein from Tamale. Hussein, thank you very much for your message. There's another one here. Nat. All right. Nat, good show. Can we just forget sports since no government is interested in investing in facilities? Go to Asaba, Delta State, and see the sort of world-class facility for the African Athletics Championships recently. How come Nigeria can have world-class sports facilities littered around the country, and we sit here and just expect results? When the Super Eagles want to play in Nigeria, you see the way the governors and the various states in Nigeria jostle to host them. Godwin in North Kaneshie.
I was going to discuss the Nigeria model.
Okay.
We'll
get into that in a bit. Let me do one more text message and then we'll come into that Nigerian model because I'm also very interested in it. Why is the deputy minister who made the press release not in your studio? Was the bidding process discussed with the GOC? Well, the Ghana Olympic Committee president has told us already that he played a role. I mean, there was a team put together and he also played a role in there. So that's for your information.
And I was in a meeting where they met all the federations.
I see.
So they would
make inputs into. Yeah. Now let's talk about the Nigerian model. When you go to every state, you realize that there are standard facilities. Yes. Tell me about what you
I don't know what makes it different here, but the Nigerian system is different. In Nigeria, the governor, because it's a federal state, you generate money to run your state, and for that reason, the governors use sports as a political tool. That is one. So they would invest in it. They see that sports create employment. So they would spend their last peswa and make. Currently in Nigeria, the states would bid to host Super Eagles games. Currently in Nigeria. So you see that Super Eagles no more play either in Abuja or Surulere again. The governor will bid to host. That look, I'll take care of the hotels. Maybe the player bonuses, I'll take part of it. I'll do transport. I'll do that. I do not know how we can replicate that here. Even as we sit here, that bit of percentage on your the DCE Common Fund that is supposed to be used for sports development or sports promotion doesn't even come. At the district level, it doesn't come. So it's a challenge. But until we have that orientation, I keep preaching. Recently, I know the mayor of Accra, Ajesowa, is trying to use sports to push Accra. He's a regional chairman for swimming. He's been supporting hockey. He's been supporting weightlifting.
And also,
boxing,
he's an
and all
ambassador
that.
for the Bukom Boxing Arena as well.
Sure.
Yeah.
I would wish that Osesibe also formed a committee. The Ashanti mayor, he formed a sports committee. They haven't done much, but I am thinking that it's a way to mobilize the youth. Use sports to mobilize the youth. AMA says it's tourism. Apart from tourism, use it to mobilize the youth. Find something for them to do. Recently, there's a guy in Kumasi, he's called Asoka GH. We took him to Turkey. He came back, or a local champion, no, Nambo. He feels good doing arm wrestling. And I think that people must be serious with sports management in this country. It is not just about Benunu Mensah. It is not about Osesibe or Baba, but it's about those with a third eye. People must see that we should be able to invest in sports. Not probably it is also because we haven't preached to people well that there's money in sports. Look at Wembley, for example, Coleman. He's done
Robert
Wembley.
Coleman, yes.
Robert Coleman. He's done Wembley, and every weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, he makes some money from that facility. The Accra Sports Stadium now, the Hatramani Sports Hall. You go there and you find experts playing badminton every evening. If we have such a facility in Dansuman, you think the community will not hook up to it? So that if you built it, every evening you make a lot of money. Let's invest. The business guys who are listening to me, invest in sports infrastructure, you will make money. Invest in sports talent, you will make money. I've given you examples. Don't just invest in the footballers. Yes, footballers. But if you're able to invest in a tennis player over a period of 4 or 5 years, when the person is ranked in the top 100 of ATP or whatever, you'll be receiving your $50,000 plus, and then you take your percentage. Please, let's invest in talent as well.
There's a message here. It says, Nat, I met Bashiru Gambo in Columbus recently, and he told me how he quit the Black Stars, that he was made to buy his own ticket and play in a 4-nation tournament in Nigeria, and our own Alex Asante kept dilly-dallying him when he asked for the refund. As soon as he got back to Germany, he wrote to Lepora Jaula that he's done with the Black Stars. Why do we always have issues with money? Okay,
I was on that Nigeria trip.
Yes, so because he's mentioned Alex Asante in there, would have to get his version of the story as well, in as much as he's giving us, that bit. Yeah,
It was sponsored. That event was sponsored by LG.
Yes. Okay.
It was an LG Cup. I think our former Black Stars coach, the one who came back, Bukas Zis.
Okay.
His second coming.
Okay.
So he took us for the LG Cup. So he invited,
Bashiru
because
Gambo.
of his German background,
Sure.
Bashiru was then in Germany.
Sure.
So he invited Bashiru Gambo to come, but maybe we need to find out from Alex what happened.
Okay, sure.
Okay, now since we're talking about money, let me just put in this bit. Yes, people need to be rewarded when they do something for the country. I understand that when the footballers always demand money. But let me also point out that hasn't been a major problem with the so-called Leeds Finance Sports. Most of the time, the motivation for these athletes has always been support me to go for international competitions. Pay my little per diem, not bonus. But that doesn't even come. I mean, even they have to go for competitions, it has to be on the benevolence of maybe a federation president or somebody else to get tickets. So for them, I wouldn't even want to extend it as far as say bonuses, but we don't even get tickets for them to go for international competitions. Now, I want to look at the way forward. We've had a lot of discussion. We said a lot of things, and I'm very happy that you guys gave us Baba to be with us in Argentina. Baba spoke about the transportation system. She also spoke about the other logistics, the telecommunication. Those are the things we also need to start looking at now. The transportation system in Buenos Aires was perfect, as Baba said. I realized that was a little bit of an improvement on what happened in Australia. What had been in the practice in the past was that the organizers of the games would hire or commandeer as many as 2,000 vehicles, and then make sure that every sports federation or every NOC president, as a Olympic Committee president, are assigned vehicles and stuff like that. In Australia, it was quite different. They created a vehicle pool, where you walk out of your hotel and then you can easily access a vehicle. In Buenos Aires, there was an improvement. They are cutting costs here. The other NOC leaders and all the other people who came would fall on their normal mass transit system. But you see, the difference there is that they have a mass transit system which works very efficient. Baba can tell you, you go to the bus terminal, which is just about 2 minutes walk from your hotel, and within a period of maximum 15 minutes, there's a bus and you're going. We're looking at telecommunication. Our telecommunication system, we need to work on that, and then the other logistics, cutting people around. So those are the other issues that we'll have to look at, apart from the infrastructure, the sporting infrastructure that we're putting in place, investing in athletes. If we really want to host this game and not disgrace ourselves, our transport system, our telecommunication system, and then there are all the other logistics that visitors into our country we want.
Nat, just to add to that, just to add to that, what happened in Argentina once again? Volunteers and security personnel were trained for 2 years, and the volunteers had to be trained in certain languages because they were going to be manning, going to be team leads or liaison officers, as we call them here, for certain for most of the countries. So you have people speaking Chinese, you have people speaking Indian, you have people speaking Russian, and all of that. Volunteers, security men, 2 years, not less than 2 years of training. And so I think that, like I said, that Gustavo Nascimento mentioned, time is what we don't have, and it has to start now. And trust me, the security in Argentina was superb. It was top notch. Once it is this, it is that, and you can't do anything.
Similar to the FIFA World Cup in Brazil.
Exactly. You can't cut corners. Yeah. You cannot cut corners.
Visibility was amazing, and the security
I think that we have the personnel to get this thing done. Seriously, we must invest in talent and then the other infrastructural challenges. But I think we have personnel. We must invest in the personnel as well. We hosted the Cup of Nations in 2008. These same personnel were around. We did the 2009 Hockey Cup of Nations. We're doing football. And I'm sure that after the Women's Championships, we'll get a lot more personnel to work on the Africa Games. So let's begin to train them. Let's begin to prepare for 2023.
26 minutes to the top of the hour, 2 p.m. here on the Joy Sports Link on Joy 99.7 FM. In a bit, you'd have the opportunity to call and articulate your thoughts. Citizen Kojo in Asesewa says, good afternoon, Citizen Ato. I'm heartbroken. This was when I heard Ghana is hosting the All Africa Games come 2023. Please advise our sports authorities to rejuvenate our basic school sports. Other than that, we have to forget about hosting and even impressing. Our basic school sports is dead, and we want to perform in All Africa Games. God have mercy on Ghana sports. Thank you very much, Citizen Kojo.
I can't agree more with Citizen Kojo. In our time, when we were in the secondary school for close to 7 years, we had the chance to build on our talents and then develop it. Now you're in the boarding house for just about 3 years, and
less
even
than that.
Yeah, even because 2 years of it, 1 year you need to start preparing. So our intercore is no longer there. What I'd always championed that we should now focus a little bit more on our basic school competitions, the primary schools competitions, and then also our junior high school competitions, because that is where then we're going to identify our talents, unlike in the past when we did that in the secondary schools. Once we identify the talents in the junior high secondary schools, when they're in the senior high, well, not much of a sports activity, but once they get to the university, then we can build on that talent. But as we speak now, there's nothing happening in the primary schools, there's nothing happening in the junior highs, there's nothing happening in the senior high, and even the university. So where are we developing our talents from? That is the problem that the nation has. In the past, like I said, 7 years, you could pick talents from the secondary schools. But ask yourself, you and I, where are we picking our talents from now? Where do they come from?
You meet them on the bus, and then you would invite them to
Of course, I've met a few talents on Trotro.
You meet them somewhere and you ask them, do you want to do this? Come and do it. Let's go.
You know, he was a Trotro mate.
The weightlifter.
You know, so yes, so like Baba, you're right. We meet them in the Trotros, and we meet them on there, and then we start developing. So we need to go back and ask ourselves, where are we developing our talent from? And so I agree with Citizen Kudu.
We must agree that sports can influence the system and the economy in which we live. Once we agree on that, the teacher will not call you to say that your child is playful. They have discouraged us. The teacher will call you, your child is playful. GS will change the calendar, like President Medunu Mensah said. In the past, you go to Form 1, child green home. Even if you do 100 meters, you do 5,000 meters, because the seniors won't allow you. It will take you like 3 years. By Form 3, you become an inter-house champion. So Form 5, Form 4, school champion. The sixth form schools will come and poach you. University, your hall is waiting for you. So you play sports from Form 1 through upper 6 through university. By the time you finish, you are an African champion. But all these things, now the guys in the universities are no more doing serious sports anymore.
No. You
Because
see, it's also because there's that perception, and I experienced it when I was in school playing hockey and playing volley for Agri Memorial. They'll tell you, look, the sports people are the ones who are not serious. They are the ones who are academically poor.
It's just a perception. And I'll prove you wrong.
No, I'm saying I started by saying that it's a perception, and we need to erase that kind of a perception. And so, I mean, for people who don't want to be tagged as, academically poor students, they will not want to have anything to do with sports. But you see, we need a new orientation. We need for all of these school sports systems to be rebranded. And I'm happy that it forms part of the 2023 Games bid that we're going to have all of these inter-school sports, things rebranded. Well, also, there are lots of plans in place as we go ahead to host those 2023 games. I'm very happy about it.
But let's do a bit of information now. There's a 10-year development plan yet to be discussed to the 2028 Olympic Games, starting with rebranding schools and colleges sport for all disciplines starting next year, with the first biannual sports congress to be hosted by the National Sports Authority. There's also a sports fund. There are proposals due to be submitted to Parliament. Also, there is more to the 2023 Games bid than we are all talking about. So let's wait, because we what I pick up is that the Youth and Sports Minister will in the coming days, release a statement or host a news conference where we're going to hear more. And interestingly, it will be the 60th. Yeah, the 60th anniversary celebration of the All Africa Games. So Ghana,
we'll be hosting an awards ceremony to commemorate that.
Significant.
And the other unique thing about the championship is it's going to be the first time that the All African Games will be a qualifier, or will be used as qualifier for the Olympic Games. So
that's exciting news. That's exciting news.
The multi-city thing too. So
let's start getting our friends on the phones on the phone line 0244 sorry, I beg your pardon. 0302 216 541. 0302 216 541. Now, Nat, when I'm thinking about sports in our country now, I pause and ask myself, that bang when? This is Opoku Boachi. He's listening from Connecticut in the USA. Okay, so 0302 216 541.
My level up.
I'll play that back for you. Don't worry at all. Okay, we lost our first call, unfortunately. So 0302 216 541. 0302 216 541 here on the Joy Sports Link on Joy 99.7 FM. Get through to us. Let's talk. a lot of doubt because of the way we've done things over the past years, but just maybe, we just may be getting it right this time around, because you see, this is a major platform for advocacy, the Joy Sports Link, and people do listen. I mean, if we should consider what's been happening in the last 3 weeks, especially in our football circles, where there was a lot of advocacy done for a news conference, it was done. And of course, we learned many lessons from there. So let's just see how all of this goes as well.
Oh, my love. Anybody for me to pay today? I know my love. I know my love.
Remember, it's 0302-216-541. 0302-216-541. Call, let's get talking on what we can draw in terms of the positives from the winning of the bid to host the All Africa Games. Let's get on the phone lines now. Lawyer Moses Fuamwening has joined us on the phone. He's got perspectives to the discussion. Chairman, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us.
Good afternoon. How are you doing?
By God's grace. Thank you.
Hello, Nat. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Hello, Nat.
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah, great. I'm saying good afternoon. We missed you yesterday at the Fist of Fury.
Yes. Unfortunately, a bit of an emergency, yes.
Charles, to take a dig at all of us journalists, because
Okay, Chairman, I think you should reposition yourself a bit where we're not getting, your line is very, very faint. Hello, can you hear us?
Yeah, Nat, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Please go ahead.
Good. I'm saying that Charles is I mean, I love the cynicism of all of you. It's good. We have lots of problems, but I think we can do it. I want to preach a message of hope. And I'm saying that Charles is a wonderful example of how a journalist can start from just not talking, but get involved in solving problems. Look at what he's done with, Charles, what's the name of your sport? Arm wrestling, right? Just within a year or two. Charles, how long has the sport been? Is it not 2 years?
Yeah, 2 years.
Exactly. And you were able to do it. The All-African Arm Wrestling Tournament you staged here in Ghana. You did a lot of the work yourself, but you won so many medals. That's how you do it, because it's easy to talk. Talk is cheap. But to have the boldness to get involved in it and solve the problems, that's what matters. Now, let me give you the example of boxing. We have a Fists of Fury tournament that encompasses juvenile, amateur, league, and then the professional championship tournament. Now, I want to do a bit of politics on your station because it hits you people. Now, Charles is in Assembla, right? Charles, be honest with yourself. Since this tournament started, we started talking about it 7 months ago. Have you ever reviewed it on your program, your morning show? Be honest with yourself, Charles.
I did that on Friday, please.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I did that on Friday.
But I have not had it for political reasons that you know. I have not had it. Now, let me put that aside. I am saying that, and Ben is there. Ben, be bold about the success that Ghana has achieved with getting the bid for the All African Games. Because nothing is good everywhere. Look, all the big countries you're talking about, you've got difficulties. But they succeeded because some people decided that, hey, we will take the mantle and we will do it. And I'm grateful to this government and this president and the ministry and Ben and all of you guys that everybody got together. Look, Rex has been talking about this issue since 2008. I've been with him. We've prayed about it. We've cried about it. Now it has come. So rather than crying about what is gone, question, how do we plan going forward? And I am saying that we already have the plans in place to be successful. Why do I say so? Look, I can give you the example of boxing. As I said, the Fists of Fury carries the tournament from juvenile to the amateur boxing league to the professional championship. Now, just for 2 tournaments, go and talk to the trainers. There is a huge difference. You should have come to see the juveniles who are going to be the future boxers for the tournament in 2023. You should just see with your eyes how these boys just have improved in 1 or 2 tournaments. Now, come right now in the Bukom Arena and in some other places, it's a training session for trainers, right? I think under the Youth Employment Agency. We're going to train trainers, about 5,000, all of them, in, ring officials, journalism, senatorial work, and all of that. That's how you begin to lay the foundation for success in 2023. So my point is, let's not be very, how do I say, too critical. It is good if we criticize. It is good if we analyze. But let's take on the mantle and begin to plan from now. Because really, for me, it is the heartiest news in sports over the last 50 years is that Ghana has got the right to host the All African Games. I think we need to be positive and begin to strategize from now. And I agree with Charles. We need to sit down and put the plans together. I know the ministry had a strategic meeting with all the association chairpersons. Let us put pen to paper, show how we're going to grow our sport from now to 2023. And I think if we plan well, at least I can assure you that for boxing, because of what we have done, because we already do have a corporate strategic plan, which was approved in December, and that's what we're implementing. I can assure Ghanaians, and put that down, Ben, all the 12 gold medals in boxing, Ghana will win it in 2023. I don't care about how cynical anybody can be.
Amen.
But watch it. We will win all the 12 gold medals.
Great. Thank you. Okay, so it's important to also state here that yes, we've stated the problem, but a lot of the doubt, expression of doubt, has come from our texters. I mean, what has been said here severally is that we need to work towards the plan if we want to achieve it in 2023. There's a lot of work to be done, and we need to do it. That is what the direction has been like on this show. But thanks anyway, like I said. Thank you very much, Mr. Moses Fuamwini, former head of the Ghana Boxing Authority, now a consultant to the authority, and he's been sharing his perspective here. Share yours with us as well. 0302 216 541. 0302 216 541. Join us. Let's talk.
Super Hits Radio. Joy 99.7. Super Hits Radio. Joy 99.7.
I want to make a contribution.
All right, go ahead. And your name is Charles, right? Charles.
Yes, please.
Okay, Charles. Thank you. Go ahead.
Yeah, my issue is with leadership. I think we are putting the wrong people in leadership role in our sport development. An example is Nantechi. Nantechi is a completely a business fellow. And he being there, he did not do so much for our sports. All the 3 instances that went to the World Cup, look at all that came out. In fact, I'm saying that if we should get the right people in place, Ghana, we have every potential to go places. But because of leadership. So let's look at our leadership placement. And trust me, we can even go to the extent of winning the World Cup. There are so many. Go to Sakumono, go to Lashibi, go to Tema, go to Ashama, go to all these places. There are raw talents that if we tap into this talent, trust me, Ghana can conquer the world in every department of sports we have in this world. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Thank you. Interesting that you mentioned Kwesi Nyantakyi. Today is his birthday. Happy birthday, Kwesi Nyantakyi. Happy birthday.
I miss Kwesi Nyantakyi.
You
so
do?
Much. I miss him.
I see.
I miss him.
Stephen is reaching us from Mankasim. Stephen, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Nat.
Good to have you here.
Hello?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Yes, we are destroying our sports from the basic level. I'm a teacher. And if you go around and check most of our schools in Accra, Kumasi, and elsewhere, most of the school parks are being converted into container, places for, placing containers there. And GES has made the syllable, the timetable in such a way that there is no time for play. 30 minutes break time, 15 minutes break time. We extended free SHS, the double track, 2 hours in addition. And when you ask the officials, they will tell you the 2 hours is for additional learning in the classroom. So now, you see, this is what we're doing to ourselves. We are bringing all sorts of boys and girls to one place, and we are telling them to climb a tree. How can a fish climb a tree? It's not possible. Going to school is not about passing examination. It's not about speaking, proper English. Some are meant to do sport. Allow those who want to do sport, do it. Come and look at the kind of sport we are doing at the basic level here. Students or people running on stones as Titan tracks. It will amaze you. One day have to go around the district and see, yes, people's children running on stones. When you come and see the kind of field they run on, you cry for them.
Thank you.
This is the system that we are operating. So if you don't invest at the basic level, as for the top, we are going nowhere. But invest at the basic level, because that is the nursery. If you don't check the nursery, that will go nowhere. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Yao in West Airport is our next caller. But we also need to state clearly, there was one caller who was talking about having the wrong kind of leaders, and that he specifically mentioned business people. So we would have to beg to differ with you on that one, because there are many businessmen who are running sport and running effectively. One of them is seated right across from me, just in case so you know. Yao in West Airport. Good afternoon, Yao.
I want to touch on the point that was raised. I think.
Can you please lower the volume on your radio set? We're getting some feedback. Thank you.
Two of the panelists or something, they talked about talent being taken off buses and something like that. Now, what I know, if you look at, there's this guy, a former sprinter, who is doing the Ghana's fastest guy thing, which we can pick from. Then we have the Abeku Jackson group, who is doing the
swimming.
What do you call it? The swimming thing. They are also going through the mill. Then you have, I think, earlier this year or last year, the University Games, basketball, Ghana won it. So we have the people in place. We don't have to go around looking for people on buses and stuff. It is the different federations who have to go through the system and pick the right people through the mill, as I'm saying. So let's get the right people. Someone spoke about leadership. Get the right people in the right federations. Let them go down. Start training the people through the system. Bring them up. Then it's easy to pick. Not picking people off trotro and buses. We have systems already in place.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, there's this very important one that we need to take note of. And it's coming from MTN Mobile Money Limited, which wishes to apologize for all the challenges experienced in the early hours of this morning on the mobile money platform. Services have been fully restored, and we sincerely apologize for any inconvenience that this may have caused. Thank you very much. In New Wages, our next caller. Joseph, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon to all of you.
Good afternoon.
Maybe we have to congratulate all Ghanaians for this wonderful feat that we have achieved. Because this request for hosting all African games, I quite remember a lot of work was done. It didn't work. Meal time, it didn't work. Mama time didn't work. And this is the time it's coming to work. And you see, apart from looking at our sports discipline, yes, we admit we have some loopholes there. But every journey at the Chinese Day, it's a test. So at the moment, I know they are putting up 10 centers, and I saw one, it was so nice. At this go and then what? It has almost all the facilities. So I pray that this infrastructure will be put in place. And we should also forget that looking at those disciplines, what is really going to bring to Ghana, where I look critically, employment, job creation, and the private sector is going to move on that direction.
Thank you very much. This is a good opportunity for our government to bring our good old glorious athletes who are outside, some living miserably. Okay, we're not sure about that. These are great athletes in their times and can be of great help to achieve success if we help to motivate them. This is from N. Ajay. Okay, thank you very much for that one. Okay, so when the final stretch, let's quickly get some thoughts from Mr. Benunu Mensah. Before that, let's take our final caller. St. John, good afternoon. John.
Hello, good afternoon.
Okay, John. Thank you for joining us. You're our last caller. Please make it brief. Thank you.
Okay. I think, with all that we have said, I think our educational system is a challenge or is a problem. Because if you look at the fact that, about 20 years ago, we had super zonals and intercore. That was actually the main bane, or the main thing within the school system, where you pick people from within the athletics, within so many athletes. We ask ourselves, Abeku Jackson and Co. They go to Lincoln, which is a private school. But I'm well informed that there's even a whole semester or a whole term which they are just doing sports. How is it that we have the whole contingent of our swimming team coming from Lincoln the high or Lincoln school?
Okay, so Abeku is in Roman Ridge School, rather. Roman Ridge.
Come again?
Roman Ridge School, rather.
Okay, Roman Ridge School. So it's something that we have to look at our system. I think we can get all these talents from, we know that Michael Essien, we know that Asamoah Gyan, all of them came from the school system through Intercord, through Super Zoo and all those things. I think these are things that we have to bring back.
Thank you very much.
Now, let me make a quick point. Look, now this is the 21st century. Most of the rich guys in the world are sports people. Yes, it's good to go to school, it's good to learn, but for me, that notion we had in the past that it's only the academically poor who will do sports, it should be a thing of the past now. Most of the rich people in this world are people who are involved in sports. So please, I'm encouraging every parent. Your child may be academically talented. In much the same way, he or she could be academic. It could be could have a talent or whatever God has given as being in sports. So yes, you have to go to school to know to read and write. But for me, that should not be the yardstick. Pursue your talent if you are in sports.
Thank you very much. Charles, final words in 15 seconds.
Hosting of the All-Africa Games or the African Games is the best news we've had in recent times. Some of us worked behind, to support this thing, and we are happy that Ghana is going to host. But the most important thing is that preparation must begin today, and we must invest in athletes.
Oh, my love, anybody publish a pen today?
This is how we wrap it up here on the Joy Sports Link. Thank you very much for listening. We say thank you to the President of the Ghana Olympic Committee, Mr. Benunu Mensah, Charles Osei-Sibe, journalist and President of the Ghana Weightlifting Federation, Baba Tando, who covered the Youth Olympics for Joy Sports, and more importantly, all of you. Joseph Agbobli has been my sit-in producer. And this is where we say a big congratulations to my brother Kojo Oppong Nkrumah, Honorable Kojo Oppong Nkrumah, Information Minister designate on his successful vetting yesterday. And also congratulations to Mr. Atu Afo for his new role at the Graphic Communications Group. Congratulations to you, my boss, a former managing director at Multi TV. All right, so it's time for me to check out. Thank you very much for listening. I'll be back next week. And of course, Komla Dum is up here ready with the Joy Headline News at 2. My name is Nathaniel Atto, and I have love for sport.
Coming up in the Headline News at 2, Council for Tertiary Education asks TEU and UTAG to provide